Welcome to Immigration Quick Take. This is Belle Woods with the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Yesterday, two House committee hearings were held that touched on immigration issues, one in the House Judiciary Committee and the other in the House Homeland Security Committee. Here to give us an overview of what came up at the hearings is AILA Director of Advocacy, Chen. Greg, thanks for joining us. Let's start with the House Judiciary Committee hearing on enforcing the President's constitutional duty to faithfully execute the laws. How did immigration come up in that discussion?
Well, Belle, yesterday the House Judiciary Committee met to consider the question of whether the President is enforcing immigration laws and whether or not he has overstepped his bounds in his discretion on the question of enforcing laws. AILA issued both a press statement and submitted written testimony for this hearing. We thought it was very important that the issue of the enforcement of laws be clarified. To begin with, the premise of the hearing that the President may not be enforcing immigration laws is ignoring the obvious, which is that President Obama and his predecessor, George Bush, have both steadily increased, and in some cases dramatically increased, the enforcement of immigration law on several different fronts, including overall deportation numbers, prosecutions for immigration offenses, etc. And that's an issue that is on just about every metric cannot be challenged factually. So the premise of the hearing, we thought, was in many ways misplaced. AILA's statement charted out all the different areas where the President has been doing robust enforcement. Now, that doesn't mean that AILA doesn't have concerns about how enforcement has been done by this administration. And in fact, the rapid increase of enforcement has also led to compromises in due process and other protections for people who are pulled in to the enforcement machine. And that is something that AILA is continuing to look at and would like the administration to look much more carefully at.
So that was one hearing. What was the House Homeland Security Committee looking into?
That's right. On the same day, the House Homeland Security Committee had DHS Secretary Jay Johnson testifying before the committee on his vision for the agency. Several of the members, in fact, asked questions that are priorities of AILA's, including concerns about the overuse of detention, CBP's excessive use of force, CBP's use of short-term detention facilities that are substandard, including the use of very cold facilities that are making conditions unbearable for those who are held in detention. Also, concerns about CBP's lack of accountability and transparency. So the fact that several of the members raised these concerns was heartening because it shows that Congress is also expressing a concern to the agency about areas of DHS's practices.
Thanks, Greg. Was there anything else that came up during the hearing that you wanted to flag for us?
Several committee members asked the Secretary about his removal and deportation numbers for the entire agency. He specified that border security threats, national security risks, and public safety threats would continue to be the agency's priorities. AILA's concern about the border security threat category is that many individuals who have equities, longtime residents of the United States, family members here in the U.S., and perhaps have a prior removal order or an illegal reentry on their record, that those individuals would all be clustered into the category of border security threats without taking into consideration whether or not those equities require some more careful consideration before removing that individual from the United States. And so we would hope that the Secretary will continue to look more carefully at that category.
Sounds like it was a busy day on the Hill. What can we expect going forward? Are there things AILA members and the public should be doing?
So, Belle, with spring fast approaching, the big political consideration to keep in mind is that both political parties are gearing up for primaries and then the national elections in November. And that means that everything that elected officials who are running again everything that they say is going to be considered and scrutinized in the media, and many members are shy and afraid, vulnerable to say things about something as controversial as immigration. During the next couple of months, for that reason, it's going to be even more important for AILA members to reach out to their members of Congress, talk to them about immigration, help them understand the issue, give them talking points for how they can explain it to their constituencies, And in early April, on April 10th, we have the National Day of Action coming up, and we really will hope that people come to Washington, D.C., or take action in their local area by engaging with their local members.
Thank you, Greg, for joining us. For the rest of you, please stay tuned for more updates from the American Immigration Lawyers Association.